Hey guys, T2 out here, Tightening Survival. Today I've got an awesome product to show you guys. For me and my family, our preps revolve around food. Having food, having a way to cook the food, having a way to keep the food in a safe condition. Take for example, having a generator. The only reason that people are using a generator during an emergency situation is to keep the freezer or the fridge cold. You're storing up gas, you're storing up oil, you're doing maintenance on that generator to make sure that if the power goes out, that generator will keep the food that's in your freezer from spoiling. So having a freezer full of food is great. Having a way to keep that freezer cold is also great. But if you can't cook that food, it's almost not even worth having. So think about what you keep in your freezer. Steaks, chicken, sausage. Think about the different ways that you can cook it. You can use the little camping stoves. Most times you're using a little canteen cup and you're not going to put a steak inside of a canteen cup. Then there's the outdoor stoves. Propane, great until you run out of it. And if there's a storm coming, you're not even going to be able to find a propane tank in the affected area. You can use a charcoal grill. But if you're having to use half a bag of charcoal to even bring the water to a boil, let alone cook something, man, you're going to burn through that charcoal in just a day or so. Then there's also building a fire. If I'm having to build a fire every time that I want to warm up a can of soup or that I want to cook, man, that's going to get old quick. And the problem that comes with the outside stoves is it puts you at a disadvantage. All three give off smells. We've all been there. 4th of July comes around, you step outside, you can smell people cooking hamburgers 3 blocks away. What if there was a cook system where you can cook steak, chicken, whatever's in your freezer? They used unlimited fuel that was virtually smell-proof, and that was still portable. Introducing the Gosun Sport Solar Oven. So this is a solar cooker. It uses a vacuum tube that you would find in the older model TVs, and it uses this as your cooking tray. All you do, place your food in here, slide it into the tube, set this whole system up in the sun, and now you've got a nice warm meal. Then, when you're done with it, everything folds up nice and convenient in a carrying case. Now the prep kit comes with the Gosun Sport, a nice little carrying bag for the Sport, this solar panel light, and then this thing that you can boil water in. This thing is awesome. I put a pound of steak in here. Within 35 to 45 minutes, it was cooked to perfection. So to assemble the Gosun Sport, fold down the legs. These 2 little clamps down here at the bottom hold the Sport in place. This flap folds down, and then you face it whichever direction the sun is. Over here there's a dial. You want to try to get both the glare from the sun and the shadow in the smallest circle. You put your food in the tray, slide it in, make sure it's not going to spill, and then you just cook. So Gosun does sell a wireless thermometer to go with this system. So you can have the Sport sitting outside. There is an alarm that will go off on your phone to tell you when your food's done. They do make a smaller called the Gosun Go, and it weighs in at 2 pounds and will cook about 1 serving. The Gosun Sport will do about 2 to 2.5 servings worth of food, weighs in at 7 pounds, and is great for larger meals or for feeding multiple people. They do make a bigger model than this, and it is meant for serving, again, larger amounts of people. With this solar oven, I can cook steaks, chicken, shrimp, eggs, sausage, burritos, pizza rolls, hot pockets, hot dogs even, all using the power of the sun. What I like about this is that I don't have to heat up my house to cook a meal. I can set this outside, I'm not heating up my house, I'm not running back and forth, and I'm going to get a fully cooked meal from this thing. Cleaning on the Gosun Sport is super simple. They send you this cleaning brush, pull the tray out, attach this to the end of it, get this thing soapy and wet, and run it through it a couple times, and it'll clean the inside. They recommend for easier cleanup using aluminum foil. I used mine today without it. The cleanup was super simple. I wiped it down with a wet sponge. It worked. It's clean now. They have a recommended cooking time. Of course, this thing is going to cook better and faster on a day like today, where there was not a cloud in the sky. According to Gosun, you can use this thing on a overcast day or even a snowy day. It's still supposed to work. Now, we don't have very many snow days, but whenever we do, I will test this thing out and see what I can do with it. Instead of setting the Gosun horizontally, you would actually set it up like this. Take the tray out, and you would slide this right in. This allows you to get 14 ounces of boiling water using no fuel at all. So enough for a Mountain House meal, enough for some of those rice sides or pasta sides, enough to have a cup of hot chocolate or a cup of coffee, just using the sun. Having the ability to boil water without having to make a fire, without having to waste propane or isobutane, that's awesome. When and why would this be useful? Well, if the power goes out, if there's a little sun in the sky, you can use this thing to cook. If you are going on a camping trip and you have access to the sun, most of us do, use it to cook a meal or two. Save your fuel in your fuel canisters. I was talking with a guy at work, and he was telling me about how his daughter does softball games. At a lot of the fields that they play at, they're not allowed to have charcoal grills or propane grills. But he could have something like this, and he can cook him and his wife a steak while they're watching the ball game. He can cook chicken. He can cook hot dogs for his daughter while she's in between the games. This thing is very compact, very portable, doesn't make a sound, doesn't give off a smell. The only thing that you need is time and sun. So far, I've loved this product, but there are some cons. This glass too is very, very breakable. So I would be kind of leery about putting something in your bag where you can trip and fall and shatter and have broken glass in your bag. You would think that they would have some sort of a cleaning brush. That way you could run it back and forth instead of using this and scraping up the insides. They say that the tray won't really affect the insides. In my opinion, you get glass scraping on metal, probably not going to be that good. You probably are going to need some sort of turkey baster or syringe. Some products you might be cooking in this thing, you don't want them to be sitting in juice. You can suck those juices out of here at the bottom and get rid of them, and then now you're having a more crisper cooking area instead of everything being soaked in juice. The app that you use with the thermometer, someone really put some thought into that app because it gives you the different types of temperatures based on how you want something cooked. It alarms whenever your food is at that set temperature. Some things to remember when using something like this Gosun is you don't want to preheat it. Don't put it in the sun unless you're ready to have food in it. Another pro that I like, even though the food inside is hot and it's warm, the outside is still cool to the touch. This thing does have a vent right here, so it doesn't seal up completely. So if you are cooking like a kebab with meat and vegetables, you want your vegetables kind of on the outside, and that way your meat actually gets cooked all the way through. I like the fact that Gosun added this little window right here. That way you can actually see. You don't have to pull this out and lose all the heat that's in here, but you can see if your food's being cooked or not. Being able to make sure that my family has a way to cook even when the power goes out, that's very important to me. And I think Gosun did that very well. One of the cons is obviously sun. If you don't have the sun, or if it's dark outside, you can't cook. It's just like solar panels. If it's dark outside, they're not going to work. Throughout the day, I can cook enough food in this thing where when the sun goes down, it'll be bedtime or getting close to bedtime. And my wife and kid will go to bed with a full belly. So when I took this thing out of the box, it required no setup. All I had to do was take it out of the box, screw this onto the end, and I was ready to cook. So they made it very simple. Anyone who pulls this thing out of the box can figure out how to use it, even if they've never used one before. I do want to say thank you to the folks over at Gosun for number one, making a great product, but for number two, offering it to this channel for a discounted price. That way we were able to purchase not only the sport, but the entire package. That way we can do more reviews. Thank you. You guys are awesome. If this model is too big for you and too bulky for you, you can check out the Gosun Go. Like I said, it's 2 pounds and it's about half the size of it. If this model is too small for you, check out their larger version. Me personally, I think this is a good size for me and my wife. We can cook enough food for us to have full bellies and not have to heat up our house, not have to use fuel, and not give our location off with smells. Congrats on making an amazing product. Y'all be sure to check them out. Let me know what you guys use as y'all's backup. Is it something like the solar oven, or do you stick with the propane, butane, charcoal, or just building the campfire? Alright guys, that's all I've got. Again, go check out Gosun. T2 out.